Joining us now is Menzies Research Centre Senior Fellow Nick Cater. Nick, Treasurer Jim Chalmers has sought to reassure Australians that he will not break another election promise. He has dismissed suggestions that they're considering changes to negative gearing.
Would you like to make changes to negative gearing?
No, that's not something that we're proposing, not something that we are considering, not something that we are working up. We've got, I think, a very broad and very ambitious housing agenda, and we've got a pretty full book when it comes to tax reform, and our focus is on legislating that.
Nick, do you feel reassured?
His word is his bond, of course, Rita. I mean, who are we to question it? Look, you have to be very suspicious of anything the government now says. This is the problem with breaking a promise like that. You've now got a credibility problem across the board. Although I did see some polling at the weekend, which from Redbridge, that showed that there was overwhelming rejection of any move to change negative gearing. And so I think that the one thing the government does obey, if it's not its word, is the opinion polls. So I suspect, and I hope, that Jim Chalmers is on the right track, because this is millions of ordinary Australians just putting a nest egg aside for retirement or just trying to save a bit of money through negative gearing, and it would be a tragedy if the government was to take that away.
Well, we've already got soaring rents, and you can just imagine what would happen to the rental market if they fiddled with negative gearing. It is already an issue because the state governments have gone mad with their property taxes, particularly land tax, and it's driving some investors from that residential market. Now, during that same interview on Sky News, Treasurer Chalmers was asked about the footage of Nationals MP Barnaby Joyce laying on a footpath, looking very tired and emotional. This is what the Treasurer had to say.
You yourself have said you probably overdid it on the drink before in an article last year. Do you have a reaction to this? Should he go from the front bench, do you think?
Yeah, I haven't had a drink for more than 4 years now, Andrew. I think that question that you asked me is really a matter for the National Party. I know that people will have a view about it. I know that people will have their fun with it. From a personal point of view, I don't like to see anyone in that state. I find it a little bit disturbing, and so I'm not going to take shots at Barnaby about it.
What do you make of that? Was that the right response from the Treasurer?
I think it's exactly the right response, really. What's that saying about people in glass houses? But that apart, I just think this is a personal issue. We don't actually know the cause of it. I mean, people are making guesses. And I tend to have some sympathy with Barnaby's wife, Vicky Campion, when she says, what was somebody doing going around filming him rather than actually getting down to see if he was okay? I mean, somebody in that position could be suffering any number of things which could be quite serious. And surely the decent human thing to do is to get down and help somebody, not film them and stick them up on Twitter or whatever.
Well, this was the ACT, so they do things a little bit differently over there. But I wanted to bring to your attention the opinion of feminist writer Jane Caro. She had a take on this. She wrote, "Yikes, Barnaby, on the ground, on the phone on ABC News last night, !" Angus Taylor says we should not jump to conclusions. I agree. But was the same leeway given to Lydia Thorpe by, I don't know, Angus Taylor? Nick, are they really comparable, those two incidents? What happened with Lydia Thorpe and Barnaby Joyce?
Of course they're not, but of course, Jane Caro can't help but put the stiletto in when she gets an opportunity, which is really very tawdry in my view, and I just think that the whole thing is just ridiculous. Look, and the point about Barnaby is, look, we all know he has his failings. I mean, we've known before. He left his wife for another woman, etc., etc., etc. But the voters are there to judge him on that, the voters of his own electorate in New England, and they overwhelmingly support him, I think, because they actually like a bit of authenticity and a bit of humanity in their politicians to realise that they are, after all, just human beings like the rest of us.